you who watch us regularly know, we do typically try to bring some joy into our community's lives with our podcast. And we do often get comments thanking us for that. Certainly we haven't spent a lot of time talking about COVID or anything like that. And we do try to keep our sense of humor in our own lives. And let me add to that we've recorded this podcast out of a sense of obligation during some very difficult personal circumstances. Cancer diagnoses, personal illness, divorce, separation, some of the things that you would know about, death, others that we've never discussed. But today, we cannot go ahead and just do that, unfortunately. So we did want to take a couple of minutes with you before we start our recording that we did yesterday. And we did do our best to try to do our typical show. Certainly there was something at the back of my mind throughout. It was very difficult to do. The most difficult so far.
The back of both of our minds.
Yeah. Well, I won't speak for you. I'm sure you'll speak later. But we're obviously talking about what happened to George Floyd in Minneapolis and how upsetting that is. And we understand that oftentimes people are afraid to say anything when something like this happens for fear of saying the wrong thing or being judged or getting it wrong. You know, as a white person, you're certainly wading into a topic that you cannot possibly understand fully from where you're sitting. We know we don't. That's unfortunate. That's just the way it is. That's been our experience. Our life experience is such that we couldn't possibly understand. But what we do know is what is in our hearts. And we are much more afraid that will not be clear than we are that we'll be judged for what we say today in this little 1 minute intro to our podcast. So what we want to say is that our hearts are broken. What happened is, I want to use the word tragic, but tragic is connected to accident so much that I don't even want to use the word tragic because there was nothing accidental about it. It was a deliberate act of cruelty and violence. It was completely unnecessary. It was carried out by people who are supposed to be serving a purpose in our society that is the exact opposite of what happened in that incident. We're disgusted that this kind of thing can take place in our society. We're disturbed that there are people who would even consider behaving that way, sharing our planet with us. We're sad and we're angry and, ashamed of ourselves as a human race. It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. We don't live in the U.S. We live in Canada. Canada has its own issues with race. And, but right now, the U.S. has always been a terrific neighbor to us. We've enjoyed times down there. And when the U.S. is hurting, we feel it, certainly. And it's an issue that impacts everybody, living in this world. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's unfathomable. I don't know what kind of a person could participate in something like that. I hope they're ashamed of themselves. So we just wanted to say a few words before we go to our not totally jovial episode, but to get on, with what we typically do here, which is talk about knitting. We have a wonderful community. We're very thankful that we get to share this space with you all. We hope that what we've said has come across with a desired intention, which is just to share our heartbreak, our commitment to making sure that anything we can do within our own control to try to improve the situation for people. Certainly our store has always been a welcoming and loving space for everybody who has ever entered, and we certainly will continue that no matter what. And the same goes for the festival that we're planning for next year. And we found a quote that we found to ring very true to us, and we're going to share it with you now just for a little moment of reflection, and then our episode will start, and we'll see you all next week. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think the expression of really heartbreak, maybe describes it if you had to use one word.
It's pretty much all the negative emotions.
Yeah.
I don't think I've fully processed how angry I am that these people, the people who would do something like that to another human being, that they're, I don't even understand how you could do that.
And as a student of history, because I like historic things and learning about a history, it's hard to believe that we are still talking about this in much the same way, in the same kind of environment as we've been talking as people, as the world has been talking about it for generations.
Yeah.
And yet nothing seems to be done. And let's hope that this, if there's anything that can come out of this, that this is really explanation point on the need that things need to change and real action needs to be taken.
Yeah, of course, it's not the first time something like this has happened. Please God, let it be the last. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Hi everybody!
Hi!
It's Kim and Jennifer from Fleece Harmony in Belfast, Prince Edward Island. It's January and we're dressed for the weather.
It's January. We're not too hot.
Yeah.
We're cold.
I just realized that we've been saying January since we moved here, so it's nothing unusual, the weather that we're having.
No.
So
what's unusual was last week when it was actually warm.
Yeah. So, so is there anything else that we say? We have a sheep farm. And we have a woolen mill called Fleece Harmony. Yeah. Where we spin our fiber and other fiber that we buy from other islanders. Could be alpaca. Got a batch of alpaca happening in the back right now. Angora rabbits. And mostly wool though. Yeah. We mostly spin sheep's wool.
We're wool people.
We're wool people.
And this is our podcast about knitting.
Yes. And everything else.
Knitting.
Yes.
Related.
We knit together stories seamlessly
brother.
with the knitting. Okay. It's going to be a groaner.
Okay.
All right. So that's the intro.
Right.
So now the farm update, because we have 150 sheep on our farm. So we always talk about that in case you're joining us for the first time. And it's episode 45, so if you've been with us all along, congratulations.
Yeah, wow, that's congratulations for us.
You've got resilience and stamina.
Yeah, 45
episodes.
Good.
So we have grass.
Yeah.
So the sheep are all out on grass.
Yeah, that's nice.
So this is the first year in 3 years that we've actually had hay left over and have not been struggling to find hay everywhere. And we have grass.
Oh, but we don't have a lot of extra hay.
No, we don't have a lot of extra hay.
The time it was pretty perfect.
Yes. And they're eating some hay and they're eating grass as well, so it's stretching a bit better.
Yeah.
Usually this time of year, we're laying awake at night in our beds worried about the fact that we can't find any good quality hay to feed our animals.
These are the things that keep farmers up at night.
Yes, big time.
Yeah. Feed.
Yeah, feed.
Forage.
Feed for their animals.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the farm update, so it's kind of good.
It's great to have the sheep out on grass where they belong.
Yeah, that's right. And the sheep love dandelions. Mm-hmm. And if you're from another country and don't have dandelions, look it up. Here, they're weeds, but the sheep love to eat them.
Yeah, and horses do too.
Yeah, so you can use dandelion greens in salads and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can make dandelion jelly.
Yeah. So so for them, they don't think it's a weed or a nuisance or anything.
They love it.
They love it. And we've got tons of them.
bazillions.
Yes.
Our whole field looks like a canola field.
Yes.
It's nothing but dandelions.
Which in other times, if it wasn't this current time in the world right now.
Bee protection.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You would be ostracized in your neighborhood for having a weedy lawn, dandelion infested lawn. Mm-hmm. But right now there's a big movement about don't mow your dandelions because it's the first food that the bees get to eat. Yeah. So we're doing our part.
Definitely. There's enough to go around to all the bees in Canada. Yeah. Could survive off of our front fields right now.
Just imagine 88 acres of yellow.
Yeah.
So, and the ram lambs that we put out on grass, I went by and they were yellow from the bottom of their chin all the way down their chest because they've been grazing across all the dandelions and they all have yellow. Yeah. So that's it. So we can go right to knitting.
Okay. Good.
To the works in progress.
Okay.
So I'm not really going to talk about CORNWALLIS because this is the front. So what I had completed was the back. And so now I'm on the front. And here we go. And the only thing that came to mind when I thought of what am I going to say about this is second verse, same as the first. Right. It's just going to go exactly like the... So I really won't talk about that much.
Okay.
Until I've got something interesting.
You've done something with it.
Yes, I'm still knitting it, and it goes pretty fast, so that's it. So that's
over here.
Yeah, maybe on the shelf.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Wait. Okay.
All right, so that's it. And then the next thing is the Paisley Jacket. So we're gonna have to look at a picture for that because you're not really gonna be able to see on the camera. But I'll just point out a few things. Is that so for anybody that hasn't seen the beginning of this, this is a facing that you knit stockinette. Eventually that will fold under this beautiful multicolored band. Mm-hmm. And now I'm doing the design of the jacket. Mm-hmm. And it's, you go all the way around. So 269 stitches in my size. I'm gonna just give you a few helpful hints if you're knitting this jacket because I know a few people have purchased it. There's 5 charts to go around the jacket. And because the little paisleys have to mirror each other, so you've got a chart for, there's a panel of I think it's 24
so
or 26.
Like right facing and left facing kind
yeah of? Okay. Yeah, so there's a panel of about I can't remember, like 25 or 26 stitches. You do that, then you go around, and then there's another panel of about 47 stitches that is smaller paisleys and more plentiful. Mm-hmm. These ones are in the front are big ones. We're going to put sequins on those. Mm-hmm. Can hardly wait. Then you got little squares that you do, which make up, it'll be the same pattern for the back, the full back of the jacket, and the sleeves are the same pattern. Then you come around here and you've got another panel of the smaller paisleys going in the opposite direction. And then you got the final panel of the front with the big paisleys that are going to have sequins on them. So that's why we have to show a picture. So here's what happened, because nothing is without an adventure, is that I was going around and I got on the 3rd row of the pattern part and realized that I didn't start one of the panels on the right spot because you have a full chart. And then it's very clearly marked, depending on what size you're making. You start the chart at a different place, which I never had a chart like that before. Have you done that before?
Yeah, step aside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to get your XXLs mixed up with your XL. Because then what happened is I was coming around on the 3rd time around and realized that my pattern wasn't working out. So I had 2 choices, and it was on this second last panel right here. So I had this much more to go. And so my choice was to rip out 3 rows of 269 stitches minus 30, or tried to do a deep dive correction, which I love to do, surgery. So I just took out, I unraveled this section down to the band, and then re-knit it up again.
Good.
Yeah, and it worked.
Perfect.
If it didn't work, I was going to have to rip out anyway, so why go to the most extreme fix first? So, and if you have to do that, it is actually pretty easy to do. The trick is not to try to, you could use people are using crochet hooks and stuff to kind of remake their stitches, but I find it's hard to get an even tension if you do that. If you've got, it's actually easier to fix a bigger space like that than it is to fix like somewhere in the middle. Like if you've got 1 or 2 lines of stitches that you're doing, the crochet hook works well because you can manipulate around. If you've got 15 or 20, it's hard to get it even. And with 40, you have enough yarn that you can actually put it around your finger and knit with it. So that's my trick, is that you get good tension, and the only part that it gets a little tricky is right when you're at the last little bit where you don't have even enough to put it in your finger. And then by that point, your tension is good up until that point, so then you can just manipulate it a bit. So I fixed it all, and you couldn't tell at all.
Perfect.
So,
good job.
Yeah, so that's the fix on that. So that's it. That's it for my whips.
Whips. Okay. I went a little bit whip.
You whipped it up.
I'm whippy. I went whip nuts. Okay, so my Sunday cardigan, which
There's whips on there that I did.
I know.
Seen before. Okay.
I've been busy over there. My Sunday cardigan is finished, the body.
So nice.
I love it. I actually did not, when Rachel knitted, she added quite a bit of length, but I kind of like the style with the shorter body and the much longer sleeves. It's like an oversized sleeve, like how you like. That's in the design. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go with it. I did try it on just to make sure that it didn't look funny or anything.
Yeah.
And I added by mistake, because I got knitting and forgot to stop, 3 centimeters in this part of the body. But I don't think it'll make much difference. And then this was meant to be.
Sorry, what do you mean?
I added 3 centimeters.
Oh, you added 3 centimeters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm on a sleeve.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I'm still loving it. And I really want to finish it and get to wear it because it would be perfect for this weather.
And you're magic looping because you don't have size 7 millimeter
7 millimeter is a tricky one.
Yeah. It's not in all the kits.
Nope.
And it's not that common. It's like 3 millimeter.
Yeah, I could just start knitting on this right now. I'm loving it so much. And a bunch of people did write and order the yarn and stuff to make this pattern. And a lot of people have said it's been in their queue for a while. And I can see why.
Yeah,
it's
and
lovely.
Rachel had hers
back.
on.
Yeah, Rachel wore it to Knit Night, or brought it to Knit Night. And I'm going to love it.
Yeah, it's super cute and cozy. Would be wonderful on a day like today.
Just like my flax that I'm wearing.
Yes.
Which was my first sweater that I really knit to fit.
Yeah.
It's very cozy.
Nice.
And this color is blanky, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
All right. Then, as promised, many moons ago, I started the Teardale hat. And I did the provisional crochet cast on. And I am substituting a yarn, of course. This was meant to be knit with this yarn. Milwaukee Tweed from Kate Davies. I think you can tell, not too far off, but I did have to go down a full millimeter still to get gauge.
Okay, and this is a single, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got so much mohair.
I have a lot of them.
Yeah. You and your hair.
I love
always
it.
next to me. Okay. So all I've got is sort of a little bit of a facing. So this is the provisional cast on. I think you attach the blue on here, and it's fully double knit and reversible.
Oh,
so
double knitting is fun.
Yeah, I haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
And of course I'm knitting this with Chiagu lace shorties.
Yeah.
Small set. Is that right? Mini. Small.
What size are the needles?
2.75.
Yeah.
The red ones. The red kit.
Minis.
Okay. So I have to knit 5 inches of that, and I think that sort of forms the
brim
inside of the band.
Oh, okay.
You know what? It might be the crown.
What?
No, I don't know what it is.
Don't read ahead.
I'm just falling short. I have no idea what I'm knitting.
Yeah.
Because there's a twisted crown that you do a funny thing and you like. That can't be.
Okay, we don't know.
We don't know. I'm knitting the instruction line number 1.
Right.
Okay. Should be good. I really didn't look ahead. No idea what's happening. Okay, so then I was so excited. I ordered this kit from Kate Davies a few weeks ago, and I love this strawberry color that she calls cherry, but I'm just going to keep calling it strawberry because to me it looks exactly like mashed strawberries.
Yeah, looks nice.
And this is in the Miller Rahi
tweed, so it's got little flecks.
Little flecks in it. It's a single. It's super fun.
Yeah.
I'm loving the yarn. Not that Kate needs my help, but I do. It is a really nice yarn.
Yeah.
It's quite soft. This is a t-shirt, you know, with short sleeves and so on. And the only thing, here's a tip. Kate does love her crop designs, and I did not look at the schematic, which I guess would I have had that? Because I bought the pattern and the yarn at the same time.
I don't know.
So the body length, I'm wishing I had maybe bought the kit one size larger to have an extra ball to add some more body length, because the body length for the size I bought, which takes 8 balls, is only 9.5 inches. That's not a lot of length.
Yeah, although you could pull it off if you have no problem. Yeah.
So what I'm doing is there's a lot of ease in the design as well, so 10 centimeters of ease. So I'm reducing my ease a little bit to hopefully be able to make it a bit longer. Or I could pay separate shipping and get another little ball of this shipped from the UK.
Yeah.
But I think 10 centimeters of ease is a lot. I just really wish I had sort of figured that out or thought of that.
Well, plus you probably allowed extra. Like kits are usually generous. You know, when we make kits, we're always pairing.
So and of course, to make it more complicated for me to now fix, it is knit bottom up. So if it was top down, I'd have the lovely neck. I just keep knitting till I ran out of yarn. But when it's bottom up, you can't really do that. I won't know, you know?
Yeah.
If the length is the very last thing you're determining, you can just knit until you run out of yarn.
Well, didn't we talk about knit night? You could have done a provisional cast on?
Well, I haven't done anything yet. Okay. But I could do a provisional cast on and then take any extra yarn and add it to the bottom, which is what I should do.
Yes.
But provisionally casting on 240 some stitches is not my idea.
Is this just your swatch?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is my
okay.
swatch.
I thought it was the beginning of the thing.
No. This is my swatch. I'm knitting a very large swatch. So
you'll unravel.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to read it. Yeah. This could be length on that.
Yeah.
So I'm I guess I should just definitely really do the provisional cast on thing.
Why don't you just do on the 2 cables like how...
I know. Yeah, I will try it on the Chiagu cables.
Yeah. You'll find it's much easier.
There's a method where you can do a provisional cast on right onto another cable. And I would love to do that, but I tried it once with another brand of cable and I nearly ended up strangling myself and then wanted to probably strangle several other people, including the person who invented doing the provisional cast on onto the cables. So it didn't go well.
Latent anger there. Anyway, I found it is a little bit, like you have to, once you get your head around it though, it is kind of one of those things that it just kind of gives you get a rhythm.
You always say that with the left-handed macrame. And
but you can do it. I know you can.
She believes.
Yeah,
okay.
I know you can.
Okay, so that's it then. Well, what's the big deal? Oh, because I have something else planned. Should I say what I'm going to knit?
Sure.
Or does that segue into what we're talking about? It does.
Oh, we should have brought the yarn.
I'm going to go get it.
Am I going to talk about my finished object first?
Well, it doesn't say FOs on here.
No, I know.
Okay. Go ahead, talk about your finished object. Then I'll go get the yarn and we'll talk about the book.
All right. So the tam is done.
Yeah.
But I didn't block it as a tam.
No.
No. Okay. Because it really isn't, turns out
time
it
for
isn't a
tam talk. Tassel tam talk.
Okay, I don't have the tassel on yet.
Oh, is it coming?
All right. So it's washed and blocked. I'm keeping it below the size of its like camera.
Okay,
so
sort of. You might be able to see a little bit of it.
All right. So here's a good lesson in you can take your substitutions a little bit too far. And I learned every day is a school day, as I said, and I learned a very important lesson with this. I have to say that the fabric in this is absolutely lovely. Of course, it's as creamy and lovely as my Jo Bat's arm feels. So it's really a shame that the substitution didn't work out. So I used Selkirk worsted for this, just to do a little recap. I kind of suspected I might be in trouble. So this hat is the Roman hat from Kate Davies' book, Rocky Heeds.
By Lynette Meek.
What?
It's by Lynette Meek.
Yes. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking Gaelic.
I broke into Gaelic.
Yeah. Yes. So the author of the pattern, the designer, is Lynette Meek. So Lynette wrote a beautiful pattern, and
It's
her
stunning.
instructions are perfect.
Okay, let's just show the original right now.
Okay.
This is the Roman hat as Lynette envisioned it. Beautifully executed in the most beautiful colors in Kate Davies yarn.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Beautiful.
So cute.
Love it. Love it so much she decided to knit it.
Right. My apologies in advance to Lynette, because this is no reflection on her.
I think you've apologized to Lynette several episodes now. Okay.
All right. So here's the hat. So I have to say that I felt peer pressure about the whole tam thing, because people were making jokes about the tam. So I'm going to put it on.
Okay.
All right. So I've decided to keep it as a slouch.
You've decided to keep it at...
Okay.
Okay,
So there's a couple different ways you can wear it.
So it's actually a Smurf hat.
Kim says I look like the candlestick maker.
What is that?
What is it? The baker. What is it?
I
What's
have
the
no
rhyme?
idea. What's the candlestick maker?
What's the rhyme? The baker, the something, and the candlestick maker. Okay,
It looks like
anyway.
something.
All right. So, so here's what happened.
Well, it's kind of cute. I mean, it's jaunty.
It's very stiff. I think a slouch hat should be kind of soft and pliable.
Let's just say that, well, this is the yarn it was supposed to be knit with.
Right.
And as you can see, it's very much thinner. It's like half the size of the yarn.
Not even.
Okay.
Not even half.
Right.
Less than
Right.
half.
So this would have been lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we didn't do that.
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
So then, and here's was my idea, is that it would be slouchy, and then you could go to
Okay,
the back.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And go like this.
Okay. That's cute. The colors aren't bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even at the color part yet.
Okay. So
Never mind that the center looks like a nipple.
What?
What?
Oh.
Okay,
A little bit. Oh,
It was
okay.
a little tight. Somehow I ended up, I was supposed to have 7 stitches left, and I ended up with 5, so I did something wrong. So then that made that. It's just, this was a fraught with.
It's actually not bad.
Okay. And then Ken.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then Ken decided to model it 3 ways.
Yes.
Okay, so what were the 3 ways? How are you telling him to style it? Let's go to the
So
first one.
he said, "What do I do?" So the first thing he did was this was the last thing. The first thing he did was try to do this, but the shape of his head must be slightly different because he couldn't get it flat on the back. So he had it. He had it like that.
Okay.
Then he decided he was going to go for the pork pie look,
How?
which. Which is like that. He said, "Well, you want to show off the color." I said, I don't know.
God, no.
Okay. And then he said, and then this was the candlestick maker. It just stood right up. Only with him, he looked like some kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would just put the stamp on this was a fail.
But it didn't look bad the way you had it first.
Okay.
But
It's very nice and
we
warm.
have to eat our words because somebody wrote on the comments on our last video, don't you ever feel bad about modifying a designer's pattern, don't they know best?
Well, this wasn't a let's be clear. This wasn't a modification. It was a mistake.
It was an adaptation of
Yes.
it to a yarn that was just totally unsuitable.
Yes.
And sometimes we do say that. Like, we've had people write in and be like, can I use your, Eldon for this? I really wouldn't.
No.
It's just not close enough. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be very close, but it...
Well, and it even might have worked if it wasn't such a small circumference because, as I mentioned in the last episode, I had to take out 24 stitches out of a hat.
Yeah.
So it changes the
color
whole
work balance
yeah,
and
it screws up the color work balance. It changes the whole shape of the hat. It just didn't, and the yarn is because I also now I've got here. Okay. should have knit looser, but I knit tighter to try to get closer to the gauge. So the fabric is not right.
But this lace ribbing is beautiful.
I know there's lots of
stunning pattern.
It's a really nice pattern. It just wasn't a good execution of the pattern. So
it wasn't meant for that yarn.
No, it wasn't meant for that yarn. And I had my doubts last week. And I was right. And this is supposed to be like another 6. It's like a what is it? Pentagon. It's a pentagon, and it should have been like a 6-sided thing. Right. So it just it doesn't work. There's nothing about it that works. So, but I actually don't mind the little color work.
Nope.
But the tone is not quite right with this gray. Like this gray is okay, but the depth of color is not quite right. And what you can tell, even though that this is a mess, is the way that she's done the decreases in the pattern to get this, what makes these right where the decrease is, she's compensated for the little design. It looks almost exactly the same, even though you're doing a double decrease over it. It doesn't look really much different than the little flower that she did. It's really well done.
Yeah.
I just made a mess of it.
All right.
So that's the story of that.
Okay. What a shame.
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
I don't know.
Feel it. How nice
I know
it is.
It does feel lovely. It's really nice yarn. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very soft.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a Selkirk worsted.
Okay.
If anybody wants to try.
So I'm gonna go get the yarn for what I'm casting on next.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So this is well, it's a little bit fangirly because I wanted to make this sweater that Andrea made for her daughter in one of the earlier episodes of Fruity Knitting, like the first year. And it's called Darkness. And the book that it was in is actually now out of print, but it's been re-released in a more recent book by Kim Hargraves.
So it was originally released in Still by Kim Hargraves.
Andrea knits a couple of few patterns out of that book.
Yes,
still.
There were a few, so it's out of print now, unfortunately. And we had a customer asking about this, and I went to find it for her because I wanted to try to order Still. Saw that it was out of print, then went on Ravelry, and the Darkness, or what do we call it?
It's a sweater.
Showed up, but it was in this book, Myth, which is a new book.
Right.
So
this is it here. Mm-hmm. And I'm now finally going to make it, and I'm even making it in the same color that Andrea made it in.
Yeah.
And this is a Rowan yarn. I'm excited.
Brushed fleece.
Brushed fleece. It's huge.
Yeah.
And very soft and squishy, so I'm really, really excited to knit this thing. So this is what I'll be casting on next, on top of the 4 other projects because I'm still working on Flatrock.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it today because there was nothing really to talk about, but this is what I'm doing next. Mm-hmm. And this color is called Nook. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be knitting that.
Yeah.
And we should say our forum is now up and running on our website.
Yes.
Have you been in to check it?
No.
No, we must go in and check and see if anyone's posted. But it's official, so we're going to be sort of, blogging about our projects on there, or just kind of keeping a little project diary on there. And you're welcome to share your projects. If you're doing a Sidsel Hoivik kit, or you're doing any of the other ones that we've put in there, you're welcome to contribute and sort of knit along with us.
Right.
So I'm also probably going to cast this on this week.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit crazy right now.
So should we offer that if somebody wants to knit it?
Yes.
And we have the books.
Yeah.
I only got 5 because I always want to see them before, like, to make sure that all the patterns in it are lovely.
Okay, so let's just do a little slideshow of what's in the book.
Okay.
So this is what else is in the Myth book.
Okay.
Okay. So we have that book now.
Yeah.
If you want to make anything in it, just message us and we will get you the yarn.
So the way, because as you know,
this.
we're just starting to build our inventory for Rowan. So the way that it works, to be clear, if you order something that we don't already have, I have to place the order. They're very quick. And you can write to us, and I can make sure in advance if I can get the yarn, just in case there's something, it comes from England. So, are you looking at something? Is my hair messed up?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. And so I would order it. I order on a Tuesday, or they ship to Canada on a Tuesday. It usually arrives the following Wednesday, like a week from the Wednesday, so it's very fast, and then we would get it out to you. So there would be a little bit of a delay possibly, and but we're happy to order whatever anybody wants, because we have to build our inventory anyway, and it's a perfect way to do it. So yeah.
Okay, good. So that's the book Myth.
Right.
Then we ordered another book for a customer, and we want to thank her for reaching out to us and allowing us to work with her on this project that she wanted to do from the Martin Storey book, It's a Wrap. And well, let's just do a little slideshow about this one now. Okay, so so that's the patterns in It's a Wrap.
Yeah.
And our lovely customer is making the poncho. Oh, so beautiful. Look at the square patterns.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. Beautiful. So we ordered the yarn in for her to make that, and while we were at it, we got a few of these books. So if you're interested in any of the patterns in this one, we have that too.
Yeah. So she told us what color she wanted of the yarn, so we ordered the yarn for her and the book. So.
Yeah, and I wrote to her today and said it was in. It's been about 10 days.
Yeah.
Total.
So not bad.
Not bad. And that's a lovely book too. And we love Martin Storey. Okay.
Yeah. So now I guess we're kind of on the shop update.
Yeah. Isn't that where we were? Yeah. Oh, okay. Carry on.
We had a segue right in there. So we've had a couple people write to us and say, is that Fiber & Co. next to Kim's shoulder? And
well, no, they've said, what is that beautiful blue mostly?
Yes, and somebody was astute and noticed that it was Fiber & Co. I guess recognized the label. So yes, we have a small selection of Road to China Light.
And all these beautiful jewel tones.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a really lovely yarn.
Oh, just, it is as soft as anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have the colors. They're on the website, so you can take a look at that. There's nothing that's not beautiful.
We'll do a direct link down in the show notes, though.
Yes.
We're only listing it because so many viewers have asked.
Yeah.
But we're not going to continue to carry it or sell it online after this. So now's your chance.
Yeah.
And they do look beautiful.
It's very drapey. Like the fabric is very
soft,
drapey.
Soft.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then we still have the Haze book from Kim Hargraves as well. So we had ordered some of the yarns that were used in the Haze book. So the same deal for that. If you see some of the patterns, we're not going to show them again because we've showed them on other episodes already. But you can go into Ravelry and find, there's a little place where you can link to say show all the patterns in the book. So you can do that. And we ordered some hand knit cotton and some cotton glacé because those yarns are used.
Yeah, so this is the hand knit cotton in black, violet, and raspberry, I think it's called. So we have these three colors, but again, we're happy to get other ones in. I'm not sure, I might use one of these for my bikini rather than Summerlight DK. I'm undecided. There's a lot of cotton yarns to choose from.
Yes.
So this is a thicker
Yeah.
hand knit cotton. Yeah.
And then this is the cotton glacé, which is finer.
Lovely. Yeah, it's a teeny one.
Yeah.
It's these little balls are so satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better than your Nostipin ball.
Careful.
Similar. So this is aqua black and precious. This one's called, I think.
Yeah. So we just got a random selection of colors that we like.
Potential bikini colors.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful yarns. So we have these. I'll list these now.
Yeah.
We're just slowly building the Rowan section.
Yeah. And so if there's other things that you want, just let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll check to make
Any
sure that
excuse to buy more Rowan, we're good with it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about it for the shop update.
Okay.
I think we got everything.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And so now we have Ask Us Anything.
Oh, I see. There's an update.
Yes, there's an update.
Okay.
And I should actually go look at the comment where it talked about it.
What
But
comment?
apparently, okay, so maybe we'll put a little note in the show notes about this. So I got a comment from somebody, I meant to look it up, but I got so involved in the next Ask Us Anything that I didn't. So anyway, so Abby Dancer, we had great fun last time saying you were looking up the wrong thing.
Right.
Because that it's a welt. So the welt does actually look like an I-cord, but apparently there's a pattern that calls the trim a double I-cord.
Oh, wow.
So it's part of a pattern.
And what's a double I-cord then? How are you making that?
I don't know what's in the pattern,
okay.
how to make it.
Ah.
And you do an I-cord and then another I-cord on top, apparently.
Oh, but so that's a little bit different still than
So it's
welt.
a little bit different, but the welt looks, I think the welt, it looks the same.
Oh, okay.
Well, similar at least.
Okay, gosh.
Well, I looked at how you make a welt, and you basically knit the section and then join it underneath. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you were knitting a double I-cord, you'd be knitting the cord as you go and joining it to the next part. So it's a different way to do it, execution, but I think it looks similar. So, Appy Dancer, I will send you a message, or we'll put some information in the notes, the show notes, because apparently
so
there
it
is a double
wasn't
I-cord.
Appy Dancer that corrected you. It was another knitter wrote in and said there is such a thing as a double
Yes,
I-cord.
so my message is to Appy Dancer that there is such a thing as a double, but you couldn't find how to make it. That was her problem. She had searched on double I-cord and couldn't find it, but apparently it's in this pattern.
It's so lovely to have a community that's helping out, helping
Yes.
us help
Yeah,
you.
it is.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, lots of knowledge in this group.
Yes.
Which is great.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So then the next Ask Us Anything is from Payne's Homemade 73, which is she's going back and looking at old episodes. Because she was at the Mother's Day one where we talked about Nanny's sweater, which one of us had on. You had it on.
Yeah.
Okay. So apparently we got carried away with ourselves in that episode and said that we were going to rework it.
I said we said we would like to.
Yeah.
I know what colors I could do it with.
Yeah. And that we were going to change the neck.
We would change the neck.
Yes.
We would put short rows in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So none of that happened.
Surely not.
No.
I think we were asking somebody to do it for us or hinting.
I don't know. Anyway, it is a beautiful sweater and it is super cute on. Yeah. Except that neck is like great, just like a straight line.
But I just want to go grab. I'm just having a little inspiration moment here. I'm getting up a lot today.
Yeah.
So I just thought, we could easily make something similar, but we don't have the time.
Yeah.
It was a cry for help.
But this is something precious to us because our nanny made it. Yes. And she was a spectacular knitter. It's so fine. Yeah. The fabric is beautiful.
Just very plastic. I think it is getting a bit worn being out here.
Yeah.
It's starting to pill a little bit.
Yeah.
As plastic will do.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that.
Okay.
So
we're sorry for misleading you.
Yeah. So we had good intentions.
Well, I think we would love to see that done.
Yes. We had really good intentions to do it because it would be cute. It's super cute. Okay. Okay, so then the next Ask Us Anything is Corofin. and she's been watching the Beatons on YouTube.
Okay.
Which is a musical family, so I'm not sure who she's watching. Probably there's Margie and Dawn, and there's Maggie Beaton, and there's a whole lot of Beaton. So she asked if we have the same traditional music in PEI. So first of all, we're just gonna. was doing a little research on the Beatons. Okay. So and good luck with that, because
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and they're all intertwined, and you know, it's one of those old family lines that came from Skye and landed in Cape Breton, and they're
like the McLeans.
And there's like a number of families here on PEI that the same thing happened. There's, you know, Gillises, and there's, you know, all kinds of different Dohertys, and such as happened in those with those settlers. So he wasn't the first generation here, but the really most famous Beaton fiddler was Douglas Angus Beaton.
I love an Angus.
Yeah. Okay. So when you start doing the research on these Scottish families, or probably most any family, there's Angus. If you've got an Angus, you've got a whole line of Anguses. So when I was trying to figure out who's related to who, it was almost impossible. I would have had to sit and actually try to find a family tree somewhere, which I didn't have time to do. So Douglas Angus Beaton was a very famous fiddler. He was very prolific. He wrote, I think, more than 50 fiddle tunes.
Oh, wow.
And he was very, very well known. I think he was born in 1912, if I remember correctly. So he passed away, I think it was like in the 60s or something. I can't. So forgive me if I'm getting any of this wrong.
Well, it couldn't have been the 60s if he was born in 1912. He would have been 40 something.
No, he was 67 when he died, I think.
Okay.
But that could have been another Douglas Angus. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Anyway, this guy was definitely born in 1912.
Okay.
So, and I think it's his grandkids or great grandkids. It would be great grandkids that are playing now, like that are musicians. There's just a whole line of musicians. They're from Mabu, Cape Breton.
Okay, beautiful spot.
Yes, and one of the grandchildren is actually, his grandson is Rodney MacDonald, who used to be the Premier of Nova Scotia.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's
a fiddler. I would know that being from there.
Yes. So I actually took fiddle lessons from him at the Gaelic College.
Oh, isn't this charming?
Yes. Okay. So, you know, 6 degrees of separation. Right. Sometimes it's not even 6. Right. Anyway, so the Gaelic College in St. Anne's, Cape Breton, is quite a resource, a beautiful place. And they do summer, well, they probably can't do it this year, but they do summer programs, and they teach all of the traditional Scottish things. So that I went for bagpiping, and then you take your major for your summer, and then you take 2 minors. So I took Gaelic speaking and fiddling.
You should be able to pronounce all these Kate Davies patterns.
Yes, I should be. But that was 40 years ago.
In the 90s.
Or 80s.
When you went to the Gaelic College?
Yeah, no, 90s, I guess. Yeah. So 30 years ago.
You're not that old.
30 years ago. Okay. So I don't know any Gaelic anymore, except for a few things.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's it. It's a very prolific family. So I haven't answered your question about if we have the same music here. So all of this is building up from the fact that our father grew up in Cape Breton.
Right.
Our grandparents lived there. And so we're a little bit biased towards Cape Breton fiddling.
Very.
Yes. So Cape Breton fiddling
is very unique.
I was going to say it really hasn't changed from the old time fiddling traditions from Skye, which is why, so it's kind of like, you know, when a population moves somewhere and then is somewhat isolated from where they came from, they keep the traditions alive in a pure form. They don't change, they don't evolve.
They're intentional about keeping it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So much so that one of the most famous Cape Breton fiddlers, Buddy McMaster, whose family also came from Skye, was such a well-known fiddler that the fiddling school in Skye asked him to come back to teach the Skye fiddlers how to do traditional Skye fiddling. Right. So that's because they lost the purity of you know, their music evolved and modernized, and in Cape Breton it didn't as much. So that's what's happened. So that's the whole thing. Like that's a whole. You really want to get me in trouble if you want me to say that they have the same music here. Right. However, there are fiddlers here on PEI that do play in the Cape Breton style. Right. And one of them was actually booked to play at the Cayley. As part of the festival. As part of the fire festival. Very excited about it. Yes. So JJ Chasson is a fiddler here from PEI who plays in the Cape Breton style. And our second cousin or great cousin or whatever ran a Cayley in Bedeck, Nova Scotia. She's our father's cousin. She's our father's cousin. We don't know what that makes her to us. We get confused about cousins. Once removed or whatever. She recommended JJ Chasson for the, because I said I want a traditional Cape Breton style Cayley. Yeah, even though we're on PEI. Yeah, I wanted it to be like with square sets and things like that. So this was the person. So it does exist. Right. It's like, it's our party. We'll Cape Breton fiddle if we want to. Yeah, exactly. So, but there are some really good fiddle players here. Yes. But the style is not quite the same. And people, to the untrained ear, it may sound the same, but if goodness, it's not. It's not the same. So there's a certain cadence. Very untrained. Okay. Yeah. So there's a certain cadence that is the and style. It's the style. It's the style. That fortunately for me, I sound like I know a lot about this. The only reason I even know really is because I was at a concert with Natalie McMaster. Yes. And who's Buddy McMaster's granddaughter. Yes. She did a little demonstration. Oh, did she? Yeah, of the difference because, and she kind of called, I really hope I'm getting this right, but she kind of called the Cape Breton style a little dirtier, like the bow is much less tidy off the string, so there's like a little bit more blurring of the notes in between. Yeah, and one of the signature sounds, which Buddy McMaster did, and so Natalie McMaster does the same thing, it's almost like a growl. Yeah. Yes. So there's like a growl to some of it. She kind of referred to it as being dirty. Yeah. Not like a it's not like violin. Playing. Yeah. It's not like violin playing. It's more, I kind of call it like scrubby. Yeah. Yeah. And the other part that often a fiddler in these parts is accompanied by a pianist, which is not a pianist. It's a piano player that does chords. They chord. Yeah. So the piano accompanies the fiddle, and that's a very loose and kind of, it's really like with the music. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to get to see all of this at the festival, but no such luck. Next year. 2021. Okay. So it's really, it is pretty distinctive. There's also the beat, the emphasis is on the beat is different. So if you have any kind of musical training or have listened to a lot of, you'll be able to, you can pick it out. Like fiddle music. Yeah, you can pick it out. Go look up some Buddy McMaster and just give it a listen. Yeah, it's very different from, there's also Acadian fiddling, which is that's great. Fun too. Yeah. Really great, but it's different. Yeah. They have their own style, and it makes sense. They came from a different place. Yeah. I think Acadian fiddling is pretty amazing too. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's some really good Acadian groups here. Yes, we've seen some during the Small Halls Festival. Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. It's amazing how fast. So I hope I didn't get myself in trouble. Me too. I was only quoting Natalie. I don't know anything. Because we're not experts for sure. No. And it's a field you could go really deep in. Yeah. And you don't want to get yourself in trouble. No. We're biased. Especially with JJJ, so we'll come to our event next year. We're biased. Yeah. But the good news is that it's all fun. Yeah. Well, I don't say we're biased, but it's certainly what we grew up with. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it would be what was most nostalgic to us. That's right. Yeah. So, and we love it all, but that's the nostalgia is brought forth by the Cape Breton style, and we can hear the difference. Yes. So my father is a huge Cape Breton fiddling fan, and now I'm going back to. We drove a lot because he liked to drive places. So Michelle, our other sister, and I, like before you got here. We're in the back seat. The back of the car, playing on the 8-track. It was all Cape Breton fiddling. Yeah. And we hated it. Yeah. At 8 and 9 or 7 and 8, we were just like, oh my God. I came along for Chris Christopherson. That was much more enjoyable. But now, But now I love it.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's just, that's it. It's the nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
We definitely grew up listening to it, because if you went to our grandparents, surely it was playing on the record player as well, or on the radio, or both.
Yes.
Depending
it
on
was everywhere.
how many rooms it was in.
You were immersed.
Yeah.
You were immersed in it. And there's some great traditions, and the traditions have gone on in the families. And so in Mabu, where the Beatons are from, you know, anybody ever heard of the Rankins?
Yeah, they're from there too.
They're from there too. It's like a hotbed of
musical talent.
And all the, like, almost everybody in all of those families they step dance.
Yeah. They would know them as the Rankin family.
Yes.
Not just the Rankins,
yes.
but
Yeah, the Rankin family.
But we call them the Rankins.
Yeah. So they own the Red Shoe Pub, which is in Mabu, and anybody plays there.
Yeah.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
So there's your tourist information.
I've only ever driven by it. I've never been in it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do come to PEI and do Cape Breton at the same time, and we strongly endorse that plan.
Yeah. It's a really good...
Fantastic trip.
Yeah, it's a really good overview.
Yeah. And they're very different.
Yeah.
You know, like, you think, well, it's one little island and another little island that are practically next to each other. How much more exciting could it be? But it's actually a completely different experience. Totally different landscape.
Yes.
Different culture. Different things to see and do, and different music. Yeah. And it's cool.
It's interesting because, you know, the settlers, like the immigration was kind of the same. So Cape Breton has Acadian areas, Shetty Camp and all that, like I think they call it the French Shore. Right. And so there's that whole area, but they developed differently. Yeah. Or held on to their traditions slightly.
Well, even look at our family, like, we landed on Prince Edward Island. Yeah. But our branch went to Cape Breton. So they're all, you know, all over the place, interspersed.
And then they just, obviously, they developed a little bit differently. So, yeah.
But one, I will say for sure, if you're planning a trip to either Cape Breton or Prince Edward Island or anywhere else in Nova Scotia, or, you know, you have to get out and see some live music. It's a huge part of our culture. Yes. So you would be remiss to come and just, you know, there's all kinds of lovely dining and of course wool stuff and whatever your focus is. But to get out to a really good traditional ceilidh or some kind of musical venue or festival and there's all kinds of them running all summer, usually, here on the island, and of course in Nova Scotia as well. It's quite an experience. You might even get an oat cake and some tea, which is a big deal.
Yeah, a good oat cake.
A good oat cake is a big deal. Yeah. Lots of bad oat cakes. Yeah. Okay.
Forget about the Tim Hortons one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Nice try.
Our grandmother would just roll over in her grave. Yeah. She even saw one of those oat cakes.
Yeah.
Okay. Not good.
Not good at all. Okay. All right. So I think that's it.
Yeah. So come on over and check out our forum, which we'll officially start maintaining now, because it wasn't quite up by last recording. And then I got it up and kind of put it in the notes, but I don't think anyone's been in there yet. No. You can still join our Ravelry group. We're active over there. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and do subscribe if you're watching them weekly, because of course it helps us with our YouTube algorithm relations. Yeah. And you can hit the notification bell if you want to get a notification every time we launch a new video.
Did you get your little thing working?
I didn't. I'm trying to up my video editing skills, so I had promised I was going to work on something exciting, and I still do plan to, but our employees were just able to return this week. Really. Thank goodness. Yeah. I wake up mornings and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this, and this, and this, and then I'm like, oh, but there's going to be someone here to help. Yeah.
So the way we've managed it is that they come on opposite days. Yeah. Yeah. So we have enough room to keep everybody separated for one other person to be working in the mill with us, but so they come on opposite days. Yeah. But it's a huge help.
Oh my gosh, I'm so relieved, because the editing on this podcast for one will be much better. Yes. I'll have time to do it. It's very difficult to lose two people. Yeah. We were just kind of getting rolling.
We had a real groove going.
Yeah. So we'll say goodbye. We hope everybody is well and safe, and some things are opening up, and I'm certainly here. I've had my hair done. You haven't. Rachel and I were able to go work out yesterday. And
how was that?
It was great.
Yeah. Did they just have to space?
Oh, it was a huge procedure. Oh. Yeah. Like, there's the cleaning and because you're also using equipment that's supplied by the studio and stuff, so that all has to be cleaned, and of course, Mel executed it perfectly
Right.
because she's just an amazing business owner, and she did a little video tutorial about how you're going to line up and how you get in and what everybody has to do when they get there. She just did an amazing job planning for the return of her clients. So I was pretty impressed, and Rachel was like, you better watch this, we're gonna look like newbies. She's like, I would have contaminated everything. Yeah. There's a whole procedure. I was like, oh, okay. I was like all nervous. Yeah. But it was great. It was very smooth, and of course we felt better finally getting to go back. So it's a good time.
All right.
Well, we'll say goodbye.
So everybody have a great week.
Yep, and we'll see you when we see you back.
The next time.
Okay.
Bye.